Hello and welcome to FSM News. I'm Dominique Peters.
And I'm Marquise Brown. FSM is a product of Free Spirit Media, which is a nonprofit organization that empowers youth voice.
Free Spirit Media, in partnership with the Gary Comer Youth Center, After School Matters, and the Medill School of Journalism, present FSM News on Hoops High.
Is it more difficult growing up being the youngest, middle, or oldest child in your family? If you have a strong opinion about this, you're really going to enjoy this newscast.
We're going to be talking about some of the lessons that you learned from your childhood experiences, especially related to the order in which you're born. Marquise, now which child are you?
Well, Dominique, I'm the middle child. Which child are you?
I'm the oldest.
Yeah, being the oldest must sucks because I know my sister and my brother, they have a lot of responsibility. Do you have a lot of responsibility?
Yeah, of course. Our Free Spirit Media member, Amber Ellis, has shared with us her story of being the youngest in her family. In other words, the last one standing. Take a look.
I've always lived by the stereotype that if you were the last one or the youngest of your family, you were the center of attention and spoiled. But as the youngest of 10, this wasn't the case for me. I was truly growing up before my time. I have always been exposed to things that wasn't for me to see, from gang violence to drugs and killings, having a father that was once a part of all the above, and leading his kids into the same path. Every day I risk my life just from walking outside my door. Seeing people get shot and killed just because of where they live or the way they dress. My neighborhood is full of hatred. And even though we don't think this is going to come to an end, we still try to live our lives. I taught myself not to be selfish and to be strong because I felt like my life wasn't going to change. I could always depend on the help of my oldest brother, Adam, who always told me things would get better. I just had to become the change. I never really listened to him because he had everything. I mean, he was in college and he was a leader, something I never thought I could be. Exactly 3 days before Christmas, Adam was shot multiple times and killed while on his way home with one of his friends. At the funeral, my second oldest brother, Ron, was there to help me through it all. He told me whenever I needed him, I could call, and he would be there. Recently, I experienced another tragedy. This year, I lost Ron. He was shot up at his home. You know why? Because he wouldn't join the gang. Even though this was extremely hard for me to take in, it opened my eyes instead of just filling them with tears. It showed me that life is too short to give up. When I'm going through difficult obstacles, my brothers still inspire me. Because of them, I am strong. I live every day of my life doing the best I can, and I will go to college so that I can be successful in my future. Be strong. Because even when you're last in line, you could one day be first.
Thanks for tuning in to our show so far. We hope you're enjoying FSM News.
We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome back. For some, growing up being the middle child isn't easy.
Free Spirit Media's Dion Wesley says that it's harder than you think. As the middle child, Dion says that you have to live up to a lot of expectations. Take a look at her story.
My older sister, Tatiana, is 17. She has always gotten special privileges. My younger sister, Kavana, is 13. She is considered the baby, which means she's always the center of attention.
And I'm Dion, the middle child. I'm 14 and I get nothing.
Well, I guess I can't say that I don't get anything because there are lots of things that I want that I actually do get. My mom is very giving and constantly asks questions about my day.
But for me, this isn't enough. I feel like as the middle child, I'm often overlooked and people just assume that I have it all together because I'm Dion.
My mom is also a middle child, so you would think that she understands, but I don't think she does.
Despite what anyone says or thinks, my life as the middle child is great. I don't get much attention from anyone, and I have a hard time with my voice getting heard.
But sometimes my life is full of color. These are the times when I'm by myself with my mom. I tell her everything. She gives me anything I want. I'm spoiled rotten. I love being by myself with my mom. When it's just my mom and I seize the moment.
So, Marquise, has your opinion changed after seeing all the stories?
I don't know, Dominique, but next we will find out what other teens have to say. Kimani Cannon and Sterling Hill has more in Teen Talk.
Family is so important to have these days, big and small. But is there a special place within the family, one that gets all the privileges?
We want to find out how teens felt about their birth order. We want to know, was it best to be the oldest, the youngest, somewhere in the middle, or perhaps the only child?
Jazzy Jasmine left a comment on our Facebook page. She says that she's the youngest and she gets all the perks and she absolutely loves it.
Now here's what some of the teens in the Gary Comer Youth Center think.
I would say being the oldest would be the best because older kids get more attention. They get more money on birthdays and Christmases and stuff like that. So I think that's probably the best position.
What would you consider being the worst?
I would say youngest because, in my opinion, you don't have like any power.
What's the perks of being the middle child?
Some of the perks of being a middle child is that I have somebody younger than me that I'm able to have some kind of authority over.
The second youngest. Do you like being the second youngest?
Yes, I do a lot because I get babied a lot. So, and the oldest is too much responsibility.
I'm the second youngest child.
All right, and how many siblings do you have?
11.
Oh, wow. What do you think is the worst position?
The worst I would definitely think would be the older sibling because they have to lead and be the example for like all the other siblings. Like whatever the older sibling is doing, all the other siblings are gonna want to do. So like you definitely have a lot of pressure.
What position do you think is the best?
Honestly, being a baby boy. Like you get the protection from everybody else.
And don't forget to look at our Teen Talk discussion and leave a comment on our Facebook page.
You can find us by searching FSM News.
If you think it's hard growing up in your family, think what it would be like having a serious illness on top of all that.
One of our very own Free Spirit Media members knows exactly what that feels like. We'll be right back with the story. So, Dominique, how would you feel if you had to live with an illness?
I never thought about that, but I'm sure life would be very difficult. Up next, Free Spirit Media's James Lett tells us about what it's like being a teenager and growing up with an illness.
Growing up with an illness is very hard, especially when you're a teen. And it's an illness that will stick with you for the rest of your life.
I am James Lett, and I have sickle cell anemia.
I've had to deal with my illness and all the negative things involved with it. I can remember a time when I spent nearly a week in the hospital. My family worried, my friends clueless, and me, well, I laid in the hospital bed, scared. I've been in and out of the hospital since I was a baby for pains. I had more than 3 different medicines running into my veins all at once, and I practically felt immobilized. I hated myself, and at 8 years old, I didn't even have a full understanding of what I was going through. I took everything from penicillin and Motrin for pains and Tylenol and other things. Around when I was 9 or 10 years old, my mom, being the strong, God-worshiping woman she is, put her faith in God and also depended on herself to take care of me. So she took me off all of those medicines. Now, seeing as though my body were used to them, I went through a rejection, but my mother knew this would happen, but would only be temporary. It's been 5 years since I've been in the hospital for sickle cell-related pains and situations. Yet, my doctor worries about me being off the medicines because she's afraid I might have an attack that is too strong for me to handle without the medicine protecting me. She says being off the medicine may lead to being off this earth.
I don't think that will happen as long as I keep a strong faith in God and lead a healthy teenage life. If there's one thing I've learned, for sure, is to pray and make the most of my life, one day at a time, because I never know if it may be my last, especially when you're growing up with an illness.
Well, now it's time for the show to come to an end.
We hope you enjoy all the latest news from FSM.
Until next time, I'm Marquise Brown.
And I'm Dominique Peters.
See ya.
So, Marquise, what are you doing when you get home?